boys and girls, today we're going to look at the country of Thailand. Now we learned that TH says and it says V, but Thailand doesn't follow those rules. Why? Because it's a foreign word. Anyway, Thailand is in Southeast Asia, and the country is sometimes said to look like an elephant. Now, if you kind of turn it like this, and you see the elephant's trunk, you see the elephant's tusk, you see the elephant's ear, you can kind of see that it looks kind of like an elephant. But here's where it is in the world, and I'm laughing because Mrs. Ballard is motioning to me, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, the capital of Thailand is Bangkok. Now you notice where it is in the country. It's in the protected harbor area, which is where most capitals are, in a protected area. Now see this little area here? This is an isthmus. Remember what other country was an isthmus? Panama. An isthmus is when a small piece of land connects two bodies of water. And so this shares this Myanmar, and then Thailand goes here, and then this is Malaysia. So they all kind of share that same peninsula right there. Now look at the water here. Very beautiful. Now the color is attributed to a couple things. Some because it's not polluted as much as some other places, and it's also shallow area. But look at these cliffs. They do these big cliff diving where they'll climb to the top and jump off into this water. Ooh, kind of scary. Now there's a couple of big rivers that go through, and this is one of them. But you notice big tall buildings, those are modern, and those are, what we would see in New York or Chicago, or we don't have any really big ones like that in Fort Smith. But this is a wat. Now what is a wat? A wat is what they would call a temple, and that is their religion is Buddhism, and it was named after their leader Buddha, and they make these statues of Buddha, and sometimes it's got a big belly, but this one is covered in gold, and they change his clothes 3 times a year depending on the season of the year. Kind of interesting. Well, here are some animals and things that you would see. This is a king cobra, big snake. They can grow up to 18 feet long. Now you can ask mom or dad to step out 18 feet and see how long that snake can be. That's pretty big. This is called a dugong, and it is often called a sea cow. And in the United States, in Florida, we have something similar called a manatee, and they're just big, gentle sea creatures that eat grass off the bottom of the river. This one is called a binturong, and let's see what it's called. It's sometimes called the Asian bear cat, and it lives in trees, and it eats fruits and insects. So it's not a big wild cat, and some people even keep them as pets. And here is a macaque. Now, when we studied Japan, up here they have macaques that live in the hot springs, and we see pictures of them all covered with snow. They're sometimes called snow monkeys. Well, they don't have much snow in Thailand, but it's the same type of animal. And here are some people that are out for a stroll. Look at this. This is a walkway over the river, and they've made it so that it floats, and it'll float on top of the water, so that when the water is up, when it floods, it'll still be a walkway on over the river. It says there are many languages that are spoken in Thailand because it is very close to China. They will speak some Chinese. It is close to India. They speak some Indian, but the official language is Thai. And here we have a market. We've seen many open air markets in a lot of countries, where the people will just bring they'll spread a blanket out on the ground and put their things for sale. Well, these people will float their boats up and down the canal and the rivers and sell right from their boat. So, and they've got, this one has like tourist things, souvenirs and blankets and pottery and little stuffed animal monkeys. This one has fruits and vegetables. So whatever people have to sell. Now, because it rains a lot, here is their houses that are built near the rivers have to be built on stilts so that it keeps them up off the river. Otherwise, every time it floods, their house would get wet. Well, that wouldn't be good. So they build their houses near the river, but above the river. And you see, they have stairways that go down, and they have a little dock. Well, this happens to be a family with 2 boats. So they have, that's pretty good. It says everybody must go to school starting at age 6, so they must not have kindergarten. And then they go to elementary school for 6 years, and then they go on to high school for 3 more years, and then if they're really good, they can take a test and get into the university. And then they can study to be a doctor or a lawyer or something that takes a lot of school. But you notice the teacher here has on an orange. This is called saffron. The color is saffron. And so that means he is a monk in the monastery. And it says that every boy has to spend 3 years studying at the monastery. Now, this is something very important to Thailand. They honor the elephants. The elephants are workers. And the guy who rides on the elephant is called a mahout. Mahout. And these are used in moving things. The 2, see, they're working together, and they are working animals. Here's a game they like to play. It's kind of like kickboxing, except it's called the game of 8 limbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They use their arms and their legs for this type of boxing. And this one is, they try and see how they can keep the ball up in the air for as long as they can. Oh, this one, oh, I don't like this one. They eat insects. Yum. And they fry crickets and worms and cockroaches and grasshoppers and caterpillars. And they fry them up in a pan, and then they eat them. Don't know if I like that. And this is a dish called green curry. Very tasty. I do like that. And this is sticky rice. And the seeds on here, these are black poppy seeds and sesame seeds. Well, here is a white elephant, and this is a tradition of celebrating the king's birthday. And it is a very rare elephant, and he actually is white, and they dress him up fancy, and they have parades for the king's birthday, and that's their national holiday. And so when they get a new king and he has a new birthday, so the holiday changes depending on when his birthday is. And this is the first day of spring, and they squirt each other with water pistols and stuff, and it's like the washing away the old, I'm sorry, not the first day of spring, but the first day of the year. Not our year, they have a different calendar there, but it symbolizes washing away the old stuff. And here again, this is the king, and actually I looked it up, and he is no longer king, but his son took over. But here's that white elephant again. So, and then the flag, red, white, blue, white, red. You know how many countries have red, white, and blue? Does our flag have red, white, and blue? Yes, it does. Now, here's another book called The People of Thailand. And I've got to go through this quickly now because we're running out of time. Here again, this is called a wat. This is the temple. And the elephant is important. Here's a festival. Notice their bright colors, that they like to wear the bright colors, and it's kind of like a maypole dance that they do in Germany, but this one is in Thailand. And here the children are giving gifts that they're holding there in their hands. It says that their language has 76 letters. How many does ours have? 26. So 76 is a lot more. They have many more sounds than we do. Now this is growing rice. Remember, rice is planted in the muddy water there, and one piece at a time, and then the water gets used up, and then they harvest in the fall. Here again is the market, the canals, and see this little lady, she's got a little small boat. She's not a seller, she's a buyer. And these people with the bigger boats, and they are sellers. And so people just paddle up their little boat and go to where they want to go. Here again are the monks that live in a monastery. Now we also learned somebody else lived in a monastery in Germany. Who was that? Martin Luther. He lived in a monastery. Not a Buddhist monastery, but a Catholic monastery. Oh, this is a dancer. Notice her big long, they add those, they're not her real fingernails, but she dances with them and she twirls, and it says that they're sparkly, and so people can see her fingers better by looking at the extensions that's on the fingernails. And this is weaving. These are all threads that they've dyed into different colors. And here are some little, you can see some looms that they're working on. And that's the end of that book. I went rather fast, but I just wanted you to learn something about Thailand.